Welcome to Stoic Way with Alaric. Have you ever felt your life slipping through your fingers? Like a rudderless ship adrift in a stormy sea. Without a compass, no steering wheel, just chaos and waves engulfing you daily? We wake up each morning, thrown into an endless cycle of work, information, and mounting expectations. Then ask ourselves, what's the meaning of all this? Do you find yourself trapped between nameless responsibilities, ceaseless worries, and a sense of helplessness as everything piles up? A cluttered desk reflects a mind overflowing with unorganized thoughts. A packed, overlapping schedule signals a life controlled by others' priorities, not your own. And toxic relationships, bad habits clinging like shadows. All are consequences of a severe lack. That is order. A lack of order in thought, in action, and in your very life. Alaric is here to state it plainly. Without order, your life cannot stand. It will fall apart, piece by piece. Are you ready to face this truth? This might sound harsh, but it's the wake-up call you need. Because it's no coincidence that history's greatest philosophers, from the ancient Greeks to Eastern sages, emphasized the importance of discipline and structure. They understood that an uncontrolled mind, an undirected life, would forever be a victim of external circumstances and fleeting emotions. And today, Alaric will reveal 15 essential lessons from Stoicism, a philosophy that has endured for thousands of years, not because it's easy, but because it is incredibly effective. These are not empty platitudes, but sharp tools, forged through generations to help you reclaim mastery of your life. When you apply these principles, you will not only escape the feeling of being lost or exhausted, but also build a solid foundation for true peace, self-mastery, and meaning. You will forge a life of depth, resilient against all challenges, and enduring through time. And before we dive into each lesson, I want you to do something crucial. Go to the comments section right now and write, "Today I commit to bringing order to my life." This is more than just a statement. It's a declaration, a promise to yourself. It's the first action to turn intention into reality. Write it down. Make it real. And if you find value in videos like this, don't forget to hit subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss any powerful content from Stoic Way with Alaric. We're starting right now with the first lesson. Wake up. Your life won't fix itself. The first lesson, and perhaps the most difficult to accept, but ultimately the most liberating. Wake up. Your life won't fix itself. This is the raw truth many avoid, until the pain, the chaos, becomes too overwhelming to ignore. Since childhood, we've been fed a false belief that someone, something, some miracle will arrive to rescue us. A brilliant mentor, a perfect partner, a God-given opportunity, an understanding boss, or some guru who will untangle all our problems, delivering a new life without us having to lift a finger. But Alaric is here to tell you plainly, this is a dangerous illusion. No one is coming to save you. There is no hero but yourself, who can do the work only you can do for your life. The disarray you feel inside and out, from unfinished tasks, toxic relationships, mounting debts, pervasive dissatisfaction, to a lack of direction, all are direct consequences of every choice you've avoided. From difficult conversations you've postponed, every bad habit you knew you needed to break, but chose to continue nurturing, to every time you let things drift by inertia without intervention. As long as you deny that you are primarily responsible for your current state, you will remain trapped in that vicious cycle. This is not punishment. This is cause and effect. The external chaos you see is merely a mirror reflecting the clutter within your own mind. Yet, you still believe that living in a state of exhaustion, confusion, and dissatisfaction is normal. That's just how I am. My life is just like this. And the moment you tell yourself these words, you fall into the most destructive trap. The belief that there is no way out. But there is. An uncomfortable way out. Not a quick one, and certainly not a magical one. The first step is not making to-do lists, not reading more self-help books, or waiting for the right time. The first step, a brutal but necessary truth, is to accept total responsibility for your life. Not partial responsibility, but absolute responsibility. Everything you've tolerated, everything you've allowed to happen, everything you've let grow due to inaction. It's all there because you let it be there. Yes, admitting this can be painful, but it is also incredibly liberating. Because if you created it, you can absolutely change it. The Stoic Emperor Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts. And the quality of your thoughts depends on the level of responsibility you are willing to assume." You cannot keep blaming your parents, your past, the system, your ex, the weather, the traffic, or even the social media algorithm. The day you stop pointing outwards and start looking inwards, that's the day you begin to reclaim your power. How do you know if you're stuck in chaos? Observe your symptoms. I'm not talking about illnesses, but clear signs. You procrastinate everything. You surround yourself with uninspiring people. You complain more than you appreciate. You live reactively instead of consciously. Your body is tired for no apparent reason. And when no one is watching, you feel like you're wasting your potential. that is the silent cry of your soul, begging you to wake up. But you choose to silence it with distractions. Food, series, alcohol, social media, anything to avoid facing the obvious. Your life will not change until you change. Epictetus taught that we cannot control what happens, but we can control how we respond to it. The question is, will you continue to react like a victim? Or will you respond as the protagonist of your own story? Because you decide whether to use your pain as an excuse or as momentum to move forward. No one is coming to lift you up, and that's not a reason to give up, but an opportunity to make yourself stronger. Because when you take the first step yourself, when you take control yourself, everything begins to change. Not because the world becomes fairer, but because you have become more resilient. The world remains the same, but you are no longer the same person. Today is the day to look in the mirror, without excuses, to stop lying to yourself, to do what you know you must do. You don't need to be motivated. You just need to be sick of staying the same. Wake up. Your life won't fix itself. Get up, take control, and start building the best version of yourself. The version you deserve to be. It won't be easy, but it will be yours. If these words resonate with you, don't let it pass you by. Go to the comments section and write, "Today, I start taking responsibility." Let that be the first act of self-mastery you perform. Now, Alaric will take you to the second lesson. A truth many don't realize until it's too late. Your schedule is your soul. It sounds exaggerated, but it's not. Because what you do each day, hour by hour, task by task, silently molds who you are and who you are becoming. Your life is not determined by what you think of yourself, but by what you do with your time. Every time you say yes to something that doesn't matter, you are selling a piece of your existence. Not for freedom, but for distraction, for false validation, or a fake sense of movement. There's an uncomfortable truth many prefer to avoid. If you don't design your day, someone else will do it for you. And that someone else could be your boss, social media, your fears, or anyone who knows how to exploit your indecision. Because time, unlike money, cannot be saved. It can only be invested or wasted. There is no middle ground. We've been indoctrinated into believing that being busy is a sign of success. That if you're not rushing, constantly replying to messages, or having back-to-back meetings all day, then you're wasting time. But being busy is not the same as being productive. In fact, many of those who work the hardest make the least progress. Why? Because they lack clarity. They confuse movement with progress. Because their schedule is not built from intention, but from reaction. The result is days spent on urgent but unimportant tasks. Weeks that feel repetitive. Years that pass, leaving you with the feeling you did a lot, but achieved very little. Marcus Aurelius warned this centuries ago. Do not act as if you were going to live 10,000 years. Death is at your heels. While you live, while it is possible, be good to yourself. And being good to yourself starts by honoring your time. Your schedule should not be a prison, but a reflection of your deepest priorities. Most people don't design their day. They simply survive it. They wake up, and the first thing they do is check their phone, giving the world direct access to their attention. And from there, everything goes downhill. They jump from task to task without intention, react to urgent matters, postpone important ones, and go to bed exhausted but unsatisfied. Sound familiar? If so, you need more than a to-do list. You need a life philosophy applied to time. And that begins with a brutally honest question. What would my day be like if I truly respected myself? If you valued your energy, your mind, your dreams, what would you say yes to? And what would you say no to? Designing a schedule that works for you is not about filling it with activities. It's about learning to choose consciously. It's about prioritizing what brings you closer to the life you want to build, and guiltlessly eliminating what only fills space. Sometimes, the greatest productivity lies in what you decide not to do. Start small. Block out time to think, to create, to take care of your body. Protect those hours as if they were sacred, because they are. What is not on your calendar is not in your life. It's not enough to wish you had time for yourself. You must make space for it. And yes, you will have to learn to say no, without unnecessary justifications, without feeling guilty. Every no you say from self-respect is a yes to your peace, your focus, your evolution. Epictetus taught that freedom is not doing what one wants, but not being enslaved by the desires of others. Saying no is not selfishness, it's consciousness. Because if you don't defend your time, no one else will do it for you. Life is made of days, days of hours, and hours of choices. If you don't choose, others will choose for you. And they will do it without thinking about what's best for you. So, see it clearly. Your schedule is not just a piece of paper or an app. It's your soul written in minutes. Every blank space is an opportunity. Every commitment is a promise. And every day you live without intention is a day that never returns. If you are ready to stop reacting and start designing, go to the comments section and write, "Today I become the architect of my time." That will be the first step to reclaiming your life. Now, Alaric will reveal the third lesson, a truth many call life-saving rituals. And it is no exaggeration. It is those small, seemingly insignificant moments at the beginning and end of your day that determine whether you are building a life with intention or merely surviving on autopilot. The first 30 minutes after waking and the last 30 minutes before sleep are sacred times. They are the gateways through which the energy that defines your day enters, or the chaos that can ruin it. What you do immediately upon waking is not a minor detail. It's a declaration. You are telling the world and yourself who is in control. And if your first act is to reach for your phone, immersing yourself in messages, news, social media, or pending tasks, you have just ceded control of your life to external forces. You have relinquished your mental clarity before you even had your first coffee. The same happens at night. If you end your day staring at a bright screen, consuming useless information, comparing yourself, or escaping silence with distractions, you are closing the day with a saturated mind and an agitated body. You are not truly resting. You are just escaping. The Stoics knew that control begins in the simplest things. Marcus Aurelius began his days by reminding himself that he was made to act virtuously, not to indulge in fleeting pleasures. You too can reclaim dominion over your time and mind. If you decide to ritualize your waking and resting moments, this is not about following a perfect routine taken from a book, but about designing your own rituals. Those that align with what you need, with what you want to cultivate. Perhaps it's writing down your thoughts before the world's noise drowns them out. Perhaps reading something that elevates your mind, breathing in silence, stretching your body with respect, or simply looking out the window and remembering that you are alive. At night, perhaps you need to release the day by writing what you learned, thanking what happened, or simply observing how you felt without judgment. Closing with intention, like one lowering a curtain, knowing there will be another performance tomorrow. That kind of ritual not only calms the mind, but trains the brain to find order amidst chaos. The problem is that we have underestimated the power of the ordinary. We think that to change our lives, we need something enormous, a dramatic shift, an epiphany. But no, what changes your life are small habits repeated with consciousness. Those first and last decisions of the day have a domino effect. If you start in disarray, everything drags disarray. If you end in agitation, you don't rest, you just repeat the anxiety of the next day. That's why you need to eliminate distractions before they eliminate you. Your phone is not the problem. The problem is your relationship with it. Notifications are not the enemy. The enemy is your dependence on them. Every time you choose a distraction, You are saying, "This deserves my attention more than my peace, my clarity, my purpose." And that, repeated daily, slowly destroys your life without you realizing it. You cannot aspire to a full life if you don't master the first and last acts of each day. The rest can vary. Your job, your relationships, your responsibilities. But those 2 moments, dawn and dusk, 0.5, must be yours, sacred, non-negotiable. Because that is where you sow the seeds of presence, calm, and focus. Design your system of personal rituals. Don't copy someone else's X-ray day. Ask yourself, what do I need to start my day in peace? What helps me close it with lightness? Create your own formula. Protect it. Make it part of your identity. When those rituals become part of you, you will notice something powerful. Your days will no longer feel like a constant battle, but will begin to feel like something you are personally directing. Not because everything is perfect 0.5, but because you are no longer a victim of inertia. If you are ready to stop surviving your days and start living them with purpose, go to the comments section and write, "From today, my rituals are sacred." That will be the first step to taking control from where everything truly begins. Your mornings and your nights, pause for a moment and look around you. How's your desk? Your room? Your kitchen? Your car? What do you see? Clutter? Piled up items? Things out of place you've ignored for days? Weeks? Or even months? This is not accidental. This is a visual extension of what's happening within your mind. And no matter how much you deny it, no matter if you say, "I'm creative in this mess," or "I'll clean it when I have time," the harsh truth is, external chaos is silently feeding internal chaos. Every misplaced object, every forgotten corner, every space that seems to be awaiting a decision you never make, silently drains your energy. You don't notice it immediately, but you feel it. A lack of clarity, diffuse anxiety, unexplained fatigue. Your environment is sabotaging your emotional stability. And until you face it, you will continue to feel stuck. Disorganization isn't just an aesthetic problem. It's a mental one. Physical accumulation is often a form of evasion. You keep objects just in case. Hold on to clothes you don't wear. Preserve papers, files, memories that only take up space, but provide no value. And unknowingly, you are repeating the same pattern with your emotions, thoughts, and relationships. You postpone decisions, accumulate pending tasks, sustain relationships that ceased to make sense long ago. Marcus Aurelius said, "The life of a man is what his thoughts make of it." But how can you have clear thoughts if your environment screams confusion? You need to regain control, not from rigidity, but from consciousness. Minimalist techniques are not a trend, but practical tools to reclaim your focus. It's not about throwing everything away. It's about keeping only what truly adds value. The first step is simple, yet powerful. Choose a small space, your desk, your backpack, or just a single drawer, and clean it with intention. With each object, ask yourself, does this add value or just take up space? Do I really need it? Or am I keeping it out of inertia? Do it without guilt. Do it firmly. And repeat the process, one small corner at a time. You will feel relief. Not just because the place looks better, but because your mind begins to breathe. Organizing your environment is a silent declaration. You are taking yourself seriously. You are deciding not to live surrounded by visual or mental noise. You are creating the conditions for your energy to focus on what matters. You want more productivity? Start with order. You want more creativity? Free up space. You want more peace? Eliminate excess. The mind needs structure as much as freedom. A clean environment is not rigid. It's functional. It's a space that reminds you of your priorities. It's not about perfection, but about purpose. And it's not limited to the physical. You must also organize your emotional environment. People who only show up to complain, habits that sabotage your discipline, routines you repeat just out of habit. All of that also takes up space, and worse, precious, vital space. You cannot move forward if you are carrying relationships without reciprocity. If every day you feed habits that alienate you from your best self. If you tolerate dynamics you know no longer serve you. Epictetus explained it plainly. The key is to know what things depend on you and what things do not. Your environment depends on you, your decisions too. And by cleaning your external world, you are making the first concrete decision to clean your inner world as well. What surrounds you influences you more than you think. If every time you enter your home, you feel heavy, noisy, tense, you don't need more willpower, you need less clutter. Eliminate what doesn't add up. Things, people, habits. Make space for what does, for what elevates you, for what reminds you who you want to be. Because a clear mind needs a clear environment, and a life with direction cannot flourish amidst chaos. If you are ready to reclaim your focus from the root, go to the comments section and write, "Today I organize outside to heal inside." Do it and start building an environment that reflects the clarity you deserve. Listen up. There's a harsh truth you must confront if you want your life to matter. Plan or perish. It might sound dramatic, but it's the raw truth. Because if you're not planning long-term, you are condemned to live your entire life extinguishing emergencies. sudden fires breaking out that you don't understand why. Your life transforms into a series of endless firefighting moments. And what's the worst part? You feel like you're moving, but making no progress at all. You do, and do, but nothing truly changes. You're exhausted, but no closer to what you truly desire. Why? Because you lack direction. Because you confuse urgency with importance. Because you only react instead of designing. And it is precisely design, vision, strategic thinking that transforms a chaotic life into a purposeful one. Long-term thinking is not procrastinating the present. More precisely, it is what gives meaning to the present. It is understanding that every decision today is either building or destroying your tomorrow self. Epictetus was clear. Do not be carried away by the moment. Think of the consequences. But we live in a culture that idolizes the immediate, rewards the urgent, and despises the planned. And that's why we're stuck. We confuse activity with progress. We obsess over what happens this week and forget that years are built day by day. Your future self doesn't need you to be perfect today. It needs you to start, to think, to choose with intention, to ask yourself, is what I'm doing bringing me closer to or further from the life I want? Having a strategic vision is not just for entrepreneurs or leaders. It's for anyone who doesn't want to waste their existence. It's sitting down with yourself and deciding, what do I want to achieve this year? What would a true breakthrough look like? What does a well-lived life mean to me? And once you have clarity, break it down, fragment it, translate that vision into concrete steps. Because big goals are not achieved by sheer willpower, they are achieved with structure. There's no point in having annual goals if you don't turn them into monthly actions. And there's no point in monthly goals if you don't translate them into what you'll do this week. Those who don't do this exercise live trapped between the anxiety of what they want and the guilt of what they don't do. They know they could do more, but don't know where to start. And that paralyzes them. Break down, organize, decide. Don't do it once and forget it. Revisit your plan every week. Adjust, recalibrate, but don't improvise your life as if your time had no value. Marcus Aurelius, amidst wars and imperial decisions, found time to write, reflect, and think strategically. You, who are not yet emperor, can you really not do it? Plan. Because a plan not only gives you direction, but also brings you peace. It reduces the noise, removes the feeling of running without knowing where, and, most importantly, it reminds you that you are not at the mercy of chaos, that you can choose, that you can act with perspective, Long-term thinking also implies renunciations. You cannot do everything. You cannot say yes to every opportunity, every plan, every whim. You must protect your energy as a finite resource because it is. And if everything matters to you, then nothing matters. Choose. Focus. Every time you say yes to something without thinking, you are saying no to what could transform your life. The art of planning is also the art of prioritizing. And prioritizing requires courage. The courage to disappoint external expectations, to honor your inner vision. Do not confuse movement with progress. Being busy does not mean moving forward. Only those who plan, evaluate, and adjust can say with certainty, I am closer than yesterday. The rest is an illusion of progress, undirected fatigue, purposeless effort. Plan or perish. Not because everything can go exactly as you planned, but because without a plan, you become a satellite orbiting urgent, external, trivial matters. If you are ready to stop improvising and start building with vision, go to the comments section and write, "From today, my future has a plan." That will be the first step to stop surviving and start leading your own life. Listen, have you ever wondered why we always feel so tired, anxious, and unfocused? The answer might be right there in your pocket or on your desk. Alaric is here to reveal a chilling but necessary truth. What you consume daily is shaping how you think. This isn't a passing trend or a fancy term to sell you more productivity. It's an urgent necessity. Because whether you realize it or not, what your eyes see and your ears hear every day is silently molding your mind, your mood, and your way of thinking. I'm not just talking about food. I'm talking about what you see on social media, what you hear in the news, what you read, who you talk to, what stimuli you allow into your nervous system, unfiltered. We live in an era where information abundance is the new poison. And like all poisons, its power lies in disguising itself as pleasure. You feel entertained, informed, connected. But slowly, you become more anxious, more scattered, and addicted to noise. Don't you see it? Your mind no longer knows how to rest, cannot stand silence. It needs to fill every free space with something. A video, a notification, someone else's opinion. And that's how you lose the most valuable thing you have. Attention. Dopamine is the neurotransmitter of pleasure and motivation. It's what makes you feel good when you achieve something or when you see likes, endless scrolls, shocking headlines. But if you're not conscious, you become a slave to stimuli. that only give you immediate pleasure and blur your ability to focus. That's why you need a dopamine detox. It's not about eliminating technology, but about re-educating your brain so it can once again enjoy silence, a deep reading, a conversation without distractions, working on something important without seeking a new dose of novelty every 5 minutes. Because as long as your mind is saturated with microstimuli, it will be incapable of sustaining attention on anything truly worthwhile. Ask yourself this question with brutal honesty. Does what I consume daily nourish my mind, or just fill it with noise? Reading is not the same as scrolling. Listening to a deep conversation is not the same as being exposed to a constant torrent of empty opinions. Consciously choosing what enters your mind is not the same as letting the algorithm decide for you. Epictetus said, "It is not what happens to you, but how you interpret it that matters." But if your mind is full of mental garbage, how do you expect to interpret life with wisdom? Start curating your digital environment. Clean up accounts, channels, people, and sources that only feed drama, complaining, comparison. You don't need to know everything happening in the world all the time. You don't need to have an opinion on every viral topic. You need clarity. You need focus. You need to protect your attention as the most valuable asset of the 21st century, because it is. Large corporations fight for it. Social media is designed to hijack it. And you, unknowingly, are giving away hours of your life daily to content that leaves you with nothing. A conscious mental diet involves setting boundaries, screen-free times of day, spaces without notifications, routines that prioritize depth over superficiality. Perhaps at first you'll feel restless. That's normal. You've trained your brain for hyperstimulation. But if you endure the initial discomfort, something begins to change. You think more clearly, make better decisions, focus better, and become more self-possessed. Because the noise subsides and your inner voice becomes clearer. Marcus Aurelius didn't have to deal with Instagram, but he understood that the mind must be cultivated with rigor. The soul takes on the color of its thoughts. He said, "Today, we could say, your soul takes on the color of the content you consume. You cannot have peace if you feed your mind with chaos. You cannot have direction if you fill your attention with distractions. You cannot have clarity if every day you water the seed of anxiety with cheap dopamine. If you are ready to take control of your attention and begin a true mental diet, go to the comments section and write, 'I will feed my mind with intention.' That will be your first act of freedom in a world that wants to keep you distracted. Be honest with yourself. How many times have you felt drained, frustrated, or even stuck without understanding the real cause? Alaric is here to point out a silent enemy, an invisible burden most of us carry daily. Relationships, the vortex of distraction. They don't take up physical space like a messy room, but they create the same effect in your mind. Confusion, exhaustion, lack of clarity. These are invisible ties, disguised as normal, even necessary. But day by day, they silently drain your energy, self-esteem, and focus. Sometimes, it's a lifelong friend, a family member, a partner, or colleague, people with whom you share time, but not purpose. Their presence, instead of propelling you forward, keeps you stuck. Not with shouts, but with micro gestures. Constant criticism disguised as advice. Undermining sarcasm. Emotional demands that make you feel guilty for taking care of yourself. And what's the most dangerous part? You often don't notice it until you are completely depleted. A toxic relationship doesn't always scream. Often it whispers, manipulates, disguised as loyalty or commitment. But your body knows it. You feel tense before seeing that person. You struggle to be yourself. You leave each encounter with less energy than before. You start modifying your behavior to avoid conflict, to not upset others, to keep things from getting complicated. That's not connection. That's emotional prison. Marcus Aurelius once wrote that you must guard your mind more than anything else, because that is where your life is born. And if you are surrounded by people who sow doubt, insecurity, or guilt, your mind becomes a constant battlefield. The first step is to identify those connections, not from judgment, but from awareness. Ask yourself, do I feel lighter or heavier after being with this person? Can I speak freely? Or do I have to tread lightly? Do they push me to grow? Or subtly undermine me under the guise of realism? The answers aren't always comfortable, but they are necessary. Because as long as you surround yourself with distracting relationships, having direction will be impossible. You might have a great vision, excellent habits, well-laid plans, but if the people close to you are not aligned with your growth, you will remain stuck. And here's something crucial. Set radical boundaries. Not passive limits or endless explanations, but clear, firm, and if necessary, definitive boundaries. Not everyone deserves access to you. Not everyone can enter your inner world unfiltered. You have the right to decide with whom you share your time, energy, and vulnerability. Epictetus wisely taught, do not allow people to enter through the door of your conscious judgment. That is not selfishness. That is mental health. That is self-respect. It is understanding that your peace is worth more than any relationship based on history or habit. But it's not just about eliminating the toxic. It's about cultivating relationships that organize you internally. People who uplift you by their example, who don't need to tell you how to be better, because they show it in how they live. Relationships that don't compete with you, but celebrate your progress. Confront you with respect. Inspire you without pressure. Make you feel more like yourself, not less. Those relationships not only bring you peace, but also give you direction, because they align you with the version of yourself you want to build. Learn to surround yourself with those who align you, not distract you. Sometimes that means spending more time alone, and that's okay. Better silence than the emotional noise of a poorly managed connection. Better one deep conversation with yourself than 10 superficial ones with someone who doesn't understand you. Chosen solitude is 1,000 times more nourishing than company that hurts. When you cleanse your emotional environment, the mind clears, the body relaxes, and life begins to organize itself from the inside out. If you are ready to stop tolerating relationships that don't honor you, go to the comments section and write, "I will surround myself with people who align me." That will be your first act of emotional organization, and your peace will thank you for it. Have you ever wondered why some days you feel full of energy and clarity, but others you're sluggish, confused, even though nothing has changed? The answer lies in an often overlooked Stoic truth. Your body is the temple of your soul, and organizing your body is your first act of self-mastery. Your body is not a separate accessory from your mind. It is not merely a vehicle that carries you from one place to another. It is your primary environment. It is the physical space where all your dreams, thoughts, feelings, and decisions unfold. Ignoring it, neglecting it, or treating it as secondary is a mistake that sooner or later will take its toll. Because the state of your body directly influences your mental clarity, your energy, your ability to focus, and your emotional stability. You cannot expect to have focus, serenity, and willpower if your body is exhausted, inflamed, or disconnected from yourself. The connection is profound. When your body moves, your mind orders itself. Exercise is not just about aesthetics or physical health. It is a daily tool for mental cleansing. Every time you activate your body, you release accumulated tension, naturally release dopamine, oxygenate your brain, improve your mood. You don't need to train like an Olympic athlete. You don't need to complicate it. Just simple, daily routines. Walking with intention, stretching upon waking, consciously lifting weights, practicing deep breathing while moving your body. The important thing is not intensity, but consistency. Daily movement is not a whim. It is an act of internal organization. And as important as moving is resting. We live in a world that idolizes constant activity. that measures personal worth based on productivity, but forgets that rest is not a waste of time. It is an investment in clarity. An overloaded mind does not need more coffee. It needs more deep sleep. A tired body does not need motivation. It needs recovery. Marcus Aurelius understood this when he wrote that you should not force yourself beyond the natural limits of your capabilities. Rest, restorative sleep, conscious pauses are essential parts of a well-organized life. They are not luxuries. They are necessities. And you cannot talk about bodily organization without talking about nutrition. What you eat does not only affect your body, it directly affects your mind. Sugars, ultra-processed foods, excessive alcohol. All of that not only ruins your physique, but also sabotages your clarity, your energy, your focus. Eating well is not an act of vanity. It is an act of mental strategy. An ordered nutrition, rich in real foods, with the nutrients your brain needs. It is a form of deep respect for your potential. Don't eat to fill emotional voids. Eat to think better, to act better, to feel stronger on all levels. Your body is the container of your life. And, like any container, if you don't take care of it, it deteriorates. This is not about seeking physical perfection. This is about building a physical state that serves as a solid foundation for everything else. A brilliant mind trapped in a weak body will always be limited. A great purpose sustained by a fragile body will always be at risk. Order begins at your first home, and your body is that home. You don't need to be radical, but you need to be conscious. Move every day. Prioritize sleep. Eat wisely. Respect your natural energy cycles. Build a physical routine that, instead of overwhelming you, supports you. Because when your body feels good, your mind has the space to think better, decide better, create better. If you are ready to treat your body as the first act of organization in your life, go to the comments section and write, "Today I start ordering my energy from within." Your mind, your purpose, and your future will thank you for it. Listen, there's a brutal truth many prefer to ignore until it explodes in their face. Chaotic money, chaotic life. This is the 9th lesson Alaric wants you to engrave in your mind. Because money, though just a medium of exchange, affects every corner of your life. Your peace of mind, your decisions, your relationships, your ability to project into the future. If you don't organize your finances, they will organize you, but not for your good. Living on the edge, counting pennies, fearing every bill, every unexpected expense, that is not freedom. That is an invisible cage, that keeps you constantly reactive, anxious, and limited. And no matter how much you try to convince yourself that it's not all about money, the truth is, if you don't have control over it, it's very difficult to have control over any other aspect of your life. The first step is not earning more, not seeking a raise or starting a business overnight. The first step is to build a basic financial control system. Know how much comes in, how much goes out, and know what you spend every penny on. It's not exciting, it's not glamorous, but it's discipline, it's respect for your energy. Every cent that passes through your hands represents time from your life invested. If you don't manage it carefully, you are disrespecting your own effort. Marcus Aurelius said, "You must treat your mind as a sacred object." Today we should say, you must treat your money with the same reverence, because it is a reflection of your mind in action, ordered or chaotic. Financial control does not mean extreme rigidity or living in scarcity. It means clarity. It means knowing that every expense has a purpose. Learning to spend with intention, not on impulse. Because every time you shop, to numb an emotion, to fill a void, to impress others, you not only lose money, you lose control. And lost control in small decisions turns into great despair when chaos reaches its peak. How many times have you justified an expense by saying, "I deserve it," when in reality you were buying future anxiety? Epictetus taught to distinguish between what is in your control and what is not. Your spending habits are in your control, your financial decisions too. Organizing your money also involves eliminating mental debts. Those unresolved commitments, those pending payments, those financial promises you drag month after month like a silent weight. It's not just economic debt. It's the constant stress of knowing you owe someone, that there's something pending that takes away your freedom. Every debt you carry, visible or invisible, takes up space in your mind. It drains your attention, energy, focus. Freeing yourself from those burdens is not just a financial act, but an act of mental health. And like everything in life, it starts with small decisions. Pay what you owe, stop accumulating senselessly, build an emergency fund, even if minimal. Live below your means to build above your expectations. Financial disarray is not just a practical problem. It's a reflection of mental patterns that you need to correct. And when you do, everything changes. You regain a sense of mastery over your life. You make decisions from calm, not from fear. You invest in yourself, not in fleeting anesthetics. You live with more dignity, more lightness, and more clarity. Don't wait until you hit rock bottom to act. Don't let your life be a constant reaction to emergencies you could have foreseen. Don't confuse the moment of immediate satisfaction with real progress. Organizing your money is organizing your life. It's not about being rich. It's about being free. If you are ready to take control of your life, starting with your finances, go to the comments section and write, "Today I organize my money and my mind." Every coin you care for is a step towards your true freedom. Look around you. What defines modern life? Glowing screens, incessant notification sounds, and a seemingly endless stream of information. Alaric is here to reveal the 10th lesson, a harsh but crucial truth. Digital chains, technology, ally or jailer. That choice plays out daily, whether you're conscious of it or not. Technology has the power to multiply your time, expand your organizational capacity, and simplify your life in previously unimaginable ways. But it also has the power to fragment your attention, scatter your mind, and trap you in endless cycles of distraction. It's not the tool that defines the effect. It's the use you make of it. You can use apps and digital systems as allies to build a clearer, more focused, more intentional life. Or you can end up as another slave, caught in constant notifications, in the infinite scroll, in the illusion of connection that actually distances you from yourself. The first step is conscious. Use technology as a means, not an end in itself. You don't need to eliminate your phone or flee the digital world. You need to domesticate it. You need to remind each tool who's in charge. Use list apps to empty your mind, not to fill it with unnecessary tasks. Use reminders to build habits, not to live in a constant state of alarm. Use calendars to design your time, not to overload it with meaningless activities. The difference is not in the tool, but in your intention. Marcus Aurelius lived in a much less stimulated world, but his advice remains valid. Master your mind, or you will be mastered by it. Today we could say, master your screens, or they will master you. Another essential act of modern order is digital cleansing. Just as you clean your physical space to free your mind, you need to clean your digital space to regain your attention. Accumulated emails, forgotten files, social media full of noise. All of that not only takes up space on your devices, it takes up space in your mind. Schedule specific times to delete what no longer serves you. Unsubscribe from what you don't read. Delete apps that only serve to steal your time. Organize your files as you would organize your home, keeping only the essential, what truly adds value. Creating a healthy relationship with screens is indispensable if you want to live with intention in the 21st century. It's not just about usage time, but quality of use. Establish screen-free zones and times. Upon waking, during meals, before sleep, Reclaim spaces of silence, deep reading, conversation without distractions. Every minute you spend without compulsively looking at a screen is an act of rebellion and mental sanity. Don't expect social media or apps to respect your attention. They are not designed for that. You must protect it. Technology is a powerful tool, but it will never be neutral. It will always tend to demand more from you. More time, more data, more attention. You decide whether to play that game or turn it into a real ally. Well-used digital systems, clear lists, organized calendars, smart reminders can free your mind to think, create, and live better. But if you don't control them, you will end up as a modern slave, hyper-connected and disconnected from yourself at the same time. Think of each app, each notification, each click as a question. Is this bringing me closer to or further from the life I want to build? If you can't answer with a clear yes, it's time to reconsider. Because in a world where attention is the most valuable resource, those who master their relationship with technology will be truly free. If you are ready to stop being a slave to your devices and start using them as strategic allies, go to the comment section and write, "Today I control my technology." The life you want is not built by endless scrolling. It is built with consciousness. Listen, Alaric wants to share with you one of the hardest truths to accept, yet the most powerfully liberating one on this journey. The winding path. Order is not linear. Fall hard, but don't break. This is something you must engrave in your mind. No matter how far you advance, no matter how much discipline you build, there will be days of regression, of chaos, of exhaustion. You won't always wake up on time. You won't always follow the perfect plan. You won't always maintain a clear mind. And that's perfectly okay. Falling is not the problem. The problem is believing that falling means failing. The true disarray is not in the setback, but in the surrender. As long as you keep returning to your path, as long as you keep getting up again and again, you are still moving forward. Life does not demand perfection. It demands consistency. Accepting setbacks without giving up is a skill that defines your long-term growth. This is not self-indulgence, not an excuse, but practical wisdom. Epictetus taught, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. When you stumble, when you break a streak, when you deviate from your planned habits, your first impulse might be to punish yourself, to give up, to think that all the effort was in vain. But that narrative is a trap. Every fall is an opportunity to reset. And conscious resets are one of the most underestimated powers you can cultivate. Don't wait to feel motivated. Don't wait for everything to be perfect. Simply decide to come back. Reset today, right now, with what you have, from where you are. True discipline is not rigid. It is a flexible discipline. Structure without rigidity. A tree that is too rigid breaks in the storm. A flexible one bends but does not break. You need to build a structure that guides you, but does not suffocate you. A system of habits and routines that sustain you, but also allow you to adapt when life doesn't cooperate. Because life, sooner or later, will not cooperate. There will be unforeseen events, surging emotions, losses, overwhelm. And if your order only works when everything is under control, then it is not true order. True order is that which persists, even when everything around changes. Learn to fall better each time, not to avoid falling, but to fall more wisely, not to dramatize the mistake, not to turn a stumble into a prophecy of failure. Marcus Aurelius wrote in his Meditations, "The perfection of character is to live each day as if it were the last. Without haste, without apathy, without hypocrisy." He does not say to live without flaws. He says to live with integrity. If you failed today, learn. If you regress today, readjust. If today you were overcome by laziness, fear, distraction, don't stay there. Breathe. Observe. Correct. Return. There is no path to order that does not pass through chaos. There is no mastery without stumbles. There is no strength without scars. Every time you get up after a fall, you not only restore what you had built, you become stronger, more resilient, more self-possessed. Not because you never fail, but because you no longer allow failure to define you. Life is not about avoiding chaos, but about learning to navigate it, building an internal structure so solid that even when everything seems to fall apart, your decision to move forward remains intact. That is true order. Not a straight line, but a conscious advance, despite the curves, the potholes, and the falls. If you are ready to stop expecting perfection and start building strength through every reset, go to the comment section and write, "Today I fall, but I won't break." Let your consistency be stronger than any fall. Finally, I want you to engrave in your mind a truth that can completely change how you perceive life. Order is not an external obligation, but the most sacred act of self-love. True order is not born from an obsession with control, but from a deep reverence for your own life. Every space you clean, every habit you build, every routine you honor. It's not simply efficiency, it's respect. It's a reminder that your time, your energy, and your existence deserve to be treated as something invaluable. Order, when rightly understood, is a gesture of love, of care, of dignity. When you understand this, your perception shifts. Ordering is not merely arranging things or fulfilling lists. It's reaffirming that your life matters, that you are not here to survive in chaos, but to build with intention. Every small act of organization, from ending your day well, preparing your workspace, caring for your body, to tidying your environment, becomes a silent prayer. I respect myself enough to create beauty around me. Marcus Aurelius spoke of living each day as if it were the last. And how would you live if you knew that every daily act was part of your personal legacy? Celebrate your progress, no matter how small, because consistency is not maintained by brutal demands, but by genuine recognition. Every step forward, every day that becomes a little more ordered, more intentional, is a victory that deserves to be seen, not just for big changes. See yourself also in those small moments of silent discipline. That time you resisted the temptation of distraction. That day you chose order instead of chaos. That moment you treated yourself with respect. The celebration of progress is what nourishes consistency. Without joy on the path, order becomes a prison. With joy, it becomes freedom. Transform your routines into meaningful rituals. You don't need to create complicated ceremonies. You just need to infuse intention into what you do. Upon waking, instead of rushing to your phone, take a moment to connect with yourself. When organizing your space, do it as one honoring a temple. When planning your day, sow the seeds of gratitude and purpose into each task. When you transform your daily actions into acts of self-love, your life will no longer feel like an endless list of obligations, but will begin to resemble a consciously constructed work. Don't let your life be an accident. Don't let chance, haste, or inertia decide for you. Your existence can be a work of art, if you choose to design it that way. Every conscious choice, every act of order, every ritual of presence is another brushstroke on the canvas of your life. You don't need to control everything, but you can direct your energy towards what truly matters. The sacred is not reserved for temples or grand moments. It lies in the way you choose to live your daily life. Order, when born from love and not from pressure, becomes a spiritual act, not to be seen, not to be applauded, but because you know deep down that every day deserves to be lived with reverence. You deserve to live with reverence. If you are ready to transform your life into a work of art and make order a sacred act of self-love, go to the comments section and write, "From today, I make my path sacred." Because your life is too valuable to be lived on autopilot. We've just walked through 12 of the most powerful lessons from Stoicism. truths that have illuminated the path for you to build an unshakable mind that the world cannot help but notice. Now, you don't need to raise your voice. You don't need to prove anything. Because sometimes, quiet strength speaks loudest and makes others feel small without saying a word. That kind of power is born from a journey no one sees, where you stop living for approval and start living by what is right, where you realize no one is coming to save you, and that is the best thing that could ever happen, where you stop running from loneliness and finally sit down for an honest conversation with yourself. A formidable mind does not dominate others. It simply cannot be controlled. It chooses what to think, when to stay silent, and how to act with intention. In an age where everyone reacts instinctively, the rare few who dare to pause and think are the ones who stand out. And that rarity, that is power. If you found this video valuable and haven't hit like yet, do it now. Leave a comment. Alaric wants to know, what part of this video made you stop and think? Share it with someone you care about. This might be exactly what they need. And if you are committed to building an unshakable mind, hit subscribe. There's so much more ahead, and every step is worth it. Thank you, and Alaric will see you next time.